we had quite a pivotal role to play as well in the agenda setting of the G20 because the African Union is now an official member of the G20, and we've contributed in the different tracks of work, not just in the G20 official tracks, but also the engagement tracks, your B20 and many other engagement tracks. Some of our work has found expression as well in the declaration, for example, the AI for Africa initiative, because the digital agenda is quite a big area of work for the African Union. We're quite pleased. It's quite a great day today. We now officially have an AU AI strategy that has been endorsed and supported by African Union member states, all 55 of them. Now the issue is about the domestication of the strategy. But with the rollout of AI, there are many, many issues to be considered. As you mentioned, issues of governance. Data governance is one big area of work. Sovereignty of data is one big area of work. The AI infrastructure, right? The hard infrastructure required for AI on the African continent is another huge area of work that we need to look at. Security, cyber security is another area of work that we're looking at. There's quite a number of key policy and governance issues that we're looking at with our member states as the African Union as continuation of the work before we can really say that we are where we need to be when it comes to the digital agenda.
Lerato, how much of the pledges in terms of infrastructure in Africa needs to be put to a priority level, given that Africa, as a developing continent, has to get that support from the developed nations? How much are you hoping that, given this declaration, that this action can happen in terms of development within the African continent?
The African continent right now, we still have, it's been quantified to be about what, 150 million US dollars required per annum up until 2030 to close our infrastructure gap. So that number still remains. I mean, we still require quite a huge amount of financial resources to close the gap. Now, the question though, and the approach has slightly changed for us because we are now focusing more as well on African domestic resource mobilization. It's quite important that we get support and pledges from abroad, but we're also mindful that within the African continent we have resources. So how do we then unlock those resources? Resources that are lying in pension funds, for example, that are not deployed in the real economy, in sovereign wealth funds on the continent, in our multilateral organizations or DFIs on the continent. So we're having a conversation around how do we begin to unlock African resources for our own infrastructure and crowd in partner funding. So yes, we do need pledges from all over the world, but we're also quite focused on mobilizing African resources.